And so I think it's important that you understand the clinical trial process. I'm not saying that the pill is bad. I just want you to think about how to make health decisions for yourself. You want to be especially vigilant, especially staying on top of it. Once I got the information I needed, I started to move in that direction, how to make health decisions for yourself.
In your mind, what would you say to brothers that's not vaccinated, or just people in general?
I'm glad to hear you are protected, and thanks for being so honest here on Keeping It 100, because that's what we do. Hey. Welcome to Keeping It 100, where we have these open and honest conversations to make sure you have all the information you need to make good health decisions. I am your host, Dr. Kristin Motley, and as always, we have a great show in store for you. So during the show, you may think of questions. You may just want to give us a hey, a hi, a what up. Please throw it in the chat. Dr. Tanya Thomas is behind the scenes. She is going to make sure your questions and comments are addressed. Let's just get started with bringing in G, Traumatized G.
Hey.
Don't be coming on here smiling. You took your deep breath. You got yourself together.
This is my game face, dog. It's game time.
It's okay. It is okay to be feeling how you feel. You know, like I think a lot of times we like put on a mask like everything is okay when it's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this is a safe space. We know that you're, starting a new project and you're experiencing some new things and seeing some things that are really affecting you. And it's okay to not be like 100%. I got your back. I'm gonna hold it down.
I know you do, Doc. I know you do, and I appreciate it. And like I said, you already gave me the number to the therapist.
Yes.
And I will get in line. I heard the line was long, but I'm already in it.
That's the thing. Like, don't be discouraged because you gotta wait. Just get in line because cancellations come up and time flies anyway. So I'm glad you went ahead and called 1-800 Black Men Heal. Good job. But for real, if Black men are looking for a therapist, on a serious note, there is a group that offers 8 free sessions for men of color, and that's blackmenheal.org. So blackmenheal.org, and use it because they have Black therapists who want to help their people. So please take advantage of that if you need it. All right, I had to take 3 deep breaths for you, G.
Okay, I'm good. But no, I mean, other than that, I've still been in the streets. There actually was a topic that this week about mental health. And actually somebody asked me mental health versus the pandemic. So he was saying how COVID kind of affected and brought out more issues as far as mental health in our community.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In all communities, really. It's affected all communities because of the isolation, people that's dealing with abuse and domestic abuse at home, children are dealing with abuse, and now you trapped in a house with the abuser. That's traumatic. Just the fact that people have been losing their job and losing income and losing friends and family members, the trauma around that and the grief and the healing around that, people becoming sick and ill and not coming back to their 100% self. So the pandemic has had a huge impact on mental health, depression for people that have been losing their jobs. It's just a lot. It's been a lot.
Yeah. I spoke to one brother. I mean, it's like I just playing back in my head, and he lost his wife, job. He was a brother that actually didn't even believe in the vaccination, and for the new job, he had to get vaccinated or whatever. So he was scared. He was scared, and he said he looked at some of our old footage, He said even before me, he went way back to one of your first shows.
When I was
up until the time that I came on board with you, and he said he made a decision to get vaccinated.
Wow.
I said, wow. So I mean, we still helping people, Doc. We still reaching out. This is still effective what we're doing in the community. And kudos to you and just even giving me this soapbox to be out here and to help educate folks and get people's lives together because we really saving and helping lives.
Listen, I thank God for giving me a vision to do this. And I thank God for cmpradio.net,
Oh, yeah.
Jean-Pierre,
Okay.
Bryce, and Les, and all the crew for giving us this platform. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have a way to get the message out to as many people because I don't know that many people. And people don't want to listen to me. But when they see that it's on CMP, it's connected to something that they know and something that they love and something they can trust. So I'm just grateful to have the platform available to help get the word out. And I can't do this alone. So, I had to bring you in.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm taking any volunteers, any help we can get to help spread the word. And it's not just about COVID. It's about our health. It's about our whole body, our mind, just everything. We got to get ourselves together because we are raising children that we want our children to have their lives together. So our grandchildren. So this is like a whole thing that I just see having an impact for generations. That's how the Lord gave it to me. And so I'm just doing the work that he gave me to do. And I'm grateful for that.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm getting my booster this weekend. I know I've been talking about it for so long and I was holding off. Well, my 3 months is up. So I'm going to get my new COVID booster at homecoming. We're doing a vaccine clinic at homecoming. So y'all come through. We're offering COVID shots and flu shots. You don't have to get both. I recommend you get them both. I am getting them both. Your body can handle 2 shots at one time. Kids get 4, 5, 6 shots at a time all the time. It's not a thing. I recommend get both of them and be done with it. If you only want one, we're not going to, persuade you to do anything you don't want to do, but just come and get the protection you need to get through this flu and COVID season because we don't know what it's going to bring as people start to gather indoors and the holidays are coming. Like the best thing we can do is protect ourselves. And so please come through at homecoming and get your COVID and or flu shot. Again, I recommend you do both. I'm getting both. G, did you get your flu shot yet?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. What you waiting for?
I guess I don't know. Maybe. You know what, Doc? Truthfully, I never got a flu shot. Like never.
A lot of people have it, and it's okay.
Never. I mean, I actually read the literature. Yeah, I did, and I actually really don't get sick that often.
Well, here we go.
So, no, I'm just one of those people that
I never had COVID. I'm not getting the COVID shot.
I didn't say that. I said flu. But I probably did have the flu, but I always took other remedies and things like over-the-counter remedies, to like kind of combat it. So I never really, I don't get sick that often to that I thought I needed, a vaccine. But I'm considering. I mean, we working around you. It's kind of rubbing off. But you finally getting. I got my booster, and you didn't get your booster. So, did you get your flu shot?
I said I'm getting it on Saturday with
my. Oh no, you said booster. I didn't know you said flu, but it's okay.
I'm getting them both together. All right. Okay. So just continue to consider it. A lot of people have never gotten the flu shot, and it's okay. The problem this year is they're expecting a little different number of cases this year because the flu has been like chilling for the last couple of years because we have been having precautions in place for COVID. So the flu hasn't had a chance to really do its thing in the last couple of years. But now the masks are off, people around, people saying COVID is over, the pandemic is over, people like back to living how they lived before we had all those protections in place. And we're already seeing the flu spread. So it's already out there. So the best thing we can do is to protect ourselves with the vaccine. Now, with the flu shot is not going to prevent you from getting flu. Just like COVID shot does not prevent you from getting COVID. But what it does is it protects you from getting really, really sick. from the flu or really, really sick from COVID. And so people may still get the flu if you get a flu shot, but you won't get so sick that you got to go to the hospital. So that's the purpose of these vaccines, is to keep us healthy enough so that we don't have to lose too many days from work and we're not up in the hospital getting who knows what from who knows who. But that's a whole nother talk for a whole nother day. So just keep thinking about it. It's not going to, it's a thing that we do each year because the flu strain changes each year. And so that's why we got to get a new flu shot each year. So although you never had it before, this is probably the best year to get it because we don't know what the flu is going to do, since this is its first time really back on the scene. And we're going to see. We're going to see. But yeah. So that's that. Now, I have a surprise for you. Guess who got their first dose today of the COVID vaccine?
Little Noah.
My little baby. Yep. I took him in for a visit for, he has another health condition. So I took him in to the endocrinologist to get checked for that. And I was like, while I'm here, can I talk to somebody about getting his COVID shot? And it was like, oh yeah, we can do it here. And I was like, oh, that's just great. So they gave him his first dose. He made out okay. And I scheduled the second dose. So I'm on track to catch Noah up. COVID reset. Get caught up, Noah.
Nice. Right. Wow. Okay, Mom. Kudos.
Thank you.
Kudos.
But I was very excited.
It took you a while. You've been on the fence, so you finally got line and got served. Okay, Doc.
I like to look and learn. I don't be first in line for nothing. So I knew when those vaccines dropped, I was going to wait a little bit. I wasn't going to wait this long, but since we had COVID, I was going to do my whole entire 3 months. So our 3 months is up. So it's time to catch up.
Right. Okay. Nice, Doc. Okay. Showing up this week. Okay.
Yes. All right. So we have a really good, an amazing guest. He is a nurse, Rasheed Lee. I actually met him through Rosie. So a lot of y'all know Rosie, Roosevelt Turner. He introduced me to Rasheed months ago. And so he's been a really, really, really good advocate. He's a registered nurse and he's worked in healthcare for about 18 years. He's worked in critical care. He's worked in trauma. He's an educator. He serves the underserved. He was actually on the bus when Uncle P got his COVID shot. And not only was he there when he got a shot, he's the one that said something that set a light bulb off in this man's brain to make him be like, all right, I'm going to get ahead and get my vaccine now. So welcome to the show, Rasheed. You have changed one man's life. At least I've seen you change one man's life. I know you've changed thousands over your 20 years in healthcare. So thanks for coming on.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I'm glad to be back. I miss it. I know there's been other opportunities, but I'm glad to be back to do whatever I can to help the people.
Welcome. You're a legend. You're a legend. If he got, first of all, if anybody can get through P, through Mr. Pierre, oh wow. If you got through that, brother, yeah, you deserve a trophy, bro.
Hey, a lot of times, man, it just be giving somebody, people will get the same message, but you just tell them the message a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's true.
And they just give them a different perspective on how to see and hear things. And it was like, I wasn't trying to get that man no pressure. Good dude, man. We vibed, and he made a decision, and we all bigged him up. We clapped him up because we know that for some people that's a big step to take that step to get that shot. So, proud of him. I'm hoping he should be due for his booster now, right?
Lord, I know.
We just got a second. Listen, don't talk about that booster yet. We just got him in the second one over the summer, okay? So he still was the same brother you met before he got the first shot. He was the same brother after the second one. So I'm working on him in the booster. I work with him every day now. So we talking about booster talk, but he's not ready yet. But it's okay.
All right. Well, you tell him I said what's up.
All right. Okay.
He was, and the cool thing is that you weren't even trying to get him to do anything. You were just talking and telling stories, and he heard something that you said that was like, oh, snap, I need to do this.
And so a lot of it come from, when you have your personal experiences. For me, every experience is personal, even if it's not my family. If I'm dealing with a patient and it's them and their family, it's personal, right? Mm-hmm. So you take those different experiences, and when you have an opportunity, you never know what experience may have an effect on someone else, and you share those stories. And just talking to you guys and listening to you guys talk about our, the community. We miss a lot of that, where we're sharing these stories from your family, my family, and giving different perspectives, different views. And then you take what you can from it, and then you make those informed decisions based on the information that you receive. And I think if we this platform that you guys have, reaching out to the community, it allows for us to share those stories, those different perspectives, so that people can say, you know what, I didn't think of that. I never heard that, or, I didn't experience that. And then it may move them into the direction of making a more informed and concise decision.
Right.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at the chat. I see Shams is on. We went to school together, I think since elementary school. What's up, bro? And Antoine, I see you say Diane Brown is incredible. I don't know who Diane Brown, so share a little bit more about that. But hey y'all, and thanks for checking out today's show. Rasheed, I agree. Like the more we're talking to each other, explaining what's going on in our lives, it helps other people. It inspires other people, and it gives people a different way to think about something. And that's exactly what we're doing. Is we're trying to give people a different way to think about something. Because if you're around people who talk like you or who think like you, then you don't get to like stretch your brain in a way to consider something else. Like consider that the vaccine could be safe, or that it could be helpful, or that it that it has helped to save millions of people from dying. But if you don't talk to people that are telling you that stuff, and all you hear is what you believe and what you think, then you don't get to like challenge other opinions, because you're around everyone who thinks alike. So I think we have to, broaden our circles and just be open-minded is what I'm really trying to ask people. Like, be open-minded, hear other opinions and challenge them. Don't just accept it, challenge it. And, just pretty much just be open-minded is all I want to say.
Yeah, pretty much, definitely.
Open-mindedness is a big piece of it. We've all grown up around in different communities where we've had, the old wives' tales and don't do this. And, if you do this, and so you grow up with a lot of that. And then, sometimes you don't break out of that mindset until you start furthering your education. And then a lot of times that's getting away from that community mindset, and getting out of that fishbowl. And then you start learning different things. You get experience with different things, and you say, oh, okay. Because, hey, look, when I left for school, I came back. My mom was like, man, you're like a totally different person.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not eating red meat no more.
Yeah.
A lot of things change. And my mom was like, what is going on with this guy? So, but it was just like the different experiences, things you read and things like that. So, we kind of got to take everything that we've learned outside of the fishbowl and then bring that stuff back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what you guys are doing with the platform, you're bringing it back into, you're bringing it to the fishbowl.
Right. And that's pretty much like who we serve. Like that's who we like with our voice. That's the voice we want to get heard, and the people we want to experience everything that we have to give them. Yeah. And shout out to you, man, the black brother being a nurse. My son, he's in school for being a nurse right now.
Oh, wow. That's great. I didn't know that.
Right.
Hey, man. Hey,
we're trying to catch up. That's another wonderful field, a career. Yeah. Brothers wasn't considering, kind of in the therapy field. So we moving up, man. And again, that's what the platform is about, to bring exposure and light to us all over the place, man. We got friends. I got good friends everywhere of color doing the same thing. And there's no disrespect to anyone of any other races, but it's time to show our light, man.
Yeah.
And bring out the people, the same way we trust it, and we trust in our own folks. It means a lot. It means a lot, man. To our community.
Man, I'll definitely tell you, if your son, whomever, if he ever wanted to reach out, I'm here. I'm here to guide him. There's a lot of things he gonna learn in them books that's not gonna tell him how to survive when he passed them boards. There's some things that as a Black man in healthcare, things you got to be prepared for.
Right.
A lot of it is unfair.
Right. Of course.
I tell people, the best information you can have in terms of being prepared is knowing what you're going to expect. Right, wrong, indifferent, fair or not. As long as you have the information, you're on top of the game. You're playing chess while they're playing checkers.
Yeah. Wow. I'll definitely keep your information, and I'll probably reach out to you soon. And but yeah, man, that's a big thing, man. We didn't hear about that back in our time and earlier, in the early ancestry days or whatever. Like, we never would even think that. We weren't even thinking it would be a Black woman nurse.
Yeah.
We got past that. Now we doctors, we nurses, we men and women on all sides of the fields. We at the vaccination tables. We all over, man. So shout out to you, good brother.
I tell you a quick story. So when I was graduating from high school, my mom said, because my mom worked in housekeeping, right, at a hospital, and she said, "Why don't you go into nursing?" Because she knew I was good in math and science, and I was like, "I'm not going to be no male nurse." Like, that's the first thing I said there. I'm not going to be no male nurse. Ain't no Black guys in nursing. You know what I mean? And so I go ahead to school, and I actually started out as a pre-farm major, right?
Oh,
so
wow.
I took all my sciences, I was doing what I needed to do, and I was getting ready for my clinicals in pre-farm, and I was like, the money's good, but this ain't for me. And it took me a couple years. At like maybe 2 years after I graduated, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to school for nursing. And my mom was like, I told you I wasted my money. And so, I started my journey after I graduated, but man, hindsight being 2020, it goes back to what you said. There were no role models for me at that time. So I didn't see any Black male nurses, barely saw any Black male doctors, So, and it, just getting that, once I got into the field, I started to understand why I didn't see him, and for me, it became more about, all right, we need to get I need to represent well, because my representation and how well I perform will give other people opportunities, and so that was, from that point on, that was my goal, man. My goal was to always be better than the rest. Have the respect of my peers, not just the nurses, but the docs. So that meant I had to be on point, so
all the time.
Yeah, all the time, as you know.
Listen, I know.
Right.
I know Dr. Thomas knows she back there, and I know she knows.
Right. Oh, definitely.
Listen, got the whole weight on your back, but we carry it and we do it, and because we just have innate abilities that just can't be matched. They just can't be matched. Like, I honestly believe that. So we gonna hold it down. We gonna hold it down for our people.
Right.
We wanted to bring you in today just to talk about the new booster. A lot of people don't even know there's a new booster, so just want to talk about that a little bit. And I guess my question to you, just to kind of get us started, is, how is the new booster different from the last booster? Because when I talk to people, I say, did you get your booster, the new booster? And they typically say yes. And then I ask them, when did you get it? And they're like, I got it back in February or March. And I'm like, no, there's a new booster, the new. Did you get the new?
Right.
So I wonder, like, what's the difference between the previous booster that people got in the spring or like in the summer and the one that just dropped a few weeks ago?
Well, so the variants, right? So when they created the booster that was released in the spring, that was for a different variant. So like the virus mutates, right? And so when they create new boosters, they're creating these boosters with the anticipation of these various different variants that may populate. So you get so what was that? That would have been the first booster that was released in the spring. So people who got that booster was primarily used to anticipate or to affect those variants that they were anticipating at that time. But over time, the booster will begin to wane in your body. And then because this COVID mutates, you have these new variants that develop. And so this new booster is for those variants. And then
new Omicron variant.
Yeah, new Omicron variant. And so so now you get this new booster is out, which I just got,
you got yours, you all caught up
3-4 weeks ago. There's a story with that too.
Like the here go.
But that's generally why, they say, and then, from the literature, they're talking about, and it's not etched in stone, but they're talking about like the COVID booster being almost something similar to the flu vaccine. Where there may be another booster and then another booster after that, just because of the different variants that the changing of the virus itself.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not more than once a year. I'm really not interested in getting this shot more than once a year. I mean, if I have to because of what the data shows, then I'll do it. But I think I can take a once a year thing. Anything more than that is really going to get on my nerves. So
I agree with you. I'm look, me and you, all three of us was in the same boat. We were sitting there like, I'm not getting that stuff.
Yeah.
And then here we are. And then now you're telling me that, this may be something that it may be once or twice a year. Once a year, okay. Twice a year, I might have to say pump the brakes. Now I did it this year, right? I did it this year. Next year, we'll talk about it.
Right.
It depends on the numbers to me. Like, I need to see the data. What is the data showing? I'm not just going to do it because y'all saying it's a good thing to do. It's the right thing to do. No. What is the data in terms of how many more deaths are prevented? How much lower risk is hospitalizations? Like, show me the numbers and I can make my decisions based on that. But we do have a question about boosters. So we have a video question from a teacher.
My question is, do we have to take booster shots every year for the rest of our lives?
So that's Miss Howie. A lot of people know Miss Howie. She retired from the high, but then they pulled her back out of retirement. So I caught her on the street. So she don't look like she happy about taking a booster.
Yeah. So we kind of answered that. And right now it's hard to say if we're gonna need to take it for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
I think that when you look back in history and you look at how polio was treated, there was a global response in terms of polio. And then now you have a situation where there's no polio anywhere except now I believe in India and Afghanistan. I believe those are the two countries.
New York had a small outbreak recently.
Yeah, and that's largely due to a certain population
travel.
And then people not getting their children vaccinated.
Yep.
But in terms of like COVID, we may be looking at a situation like and it's all going to be based on what the data is showing. The number of cases, the number of deaths, how this which variant is causing the most problems, etc. If we can get ahead of it, then I think maybe not, but there is a potential that it could be something that we may be doing every year, like the flu.
Yeah. Speaking of the flu and people that's not wanting to get shots, George had mentioned he never had a flu shot. He don't know if he's going to get a flu shot this year. And a lot of people feel like that. So, do people really need to get the flu shot this year? Should they be strongly considering it? Like, what are you reading? Like, what are you telling your patients?
So this is it's twofold, right? So I used to be one like George. I used to be like George. I was like, I'm not getting the flu shot. I don't need the flu shot. but I attribute this to your knowledge of yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're someone who eats well, you take care of your body, you overall you live a life where you're healthy, you don't have any pre-existing conditions like no heart disease, no asthma, no COPD, you don't smoke, anything like that. You're all generally healthy. Then for those individuals, I would say I get it, right? I get it. And it's no pressure. I get that. Now, for other individuals who don't know what their health status is, they don't know if they're walking around, and they could be walking around with a blood pressure of 180 over 110, and they don't know it. They have diabetes. They could be in first stage of colon cancer or something like that. We have a large infection rate of HIV in our community. So individuals such as that, I'm going to say, you should get the flu shot.
That's a good point.
Primarily because you're at risk. Now, we have on average, I think it's 36,000 deaths a year from the flu virus, like from people dying of flu-associated illnesses.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at, when you look at it, like, oh, it's a lot of people, yeah. But then when you start to look at it, like, why we got 36,000 people in the country dying from flu-associated viruses, illnesses. And a lot of that is just due to the fact that you have some people who are adamant about not getting the flu vaccine who probably should get it, just to kind of prevent them from, especially if they already have pre-existing conditions, from getting the flu severely where it could kill them. Now, you have situations where people don't die, but they get really, really sick, and they're in the hospital for a week and a half, or something along those lines before they can be discharged home. And for some people, when they get really sick like that, they don't go straight home. Sometimes they may have to go to rehab, to a rehabilitation center, or get rehab at home. So, I don't wish, like, I've seen enough. Like, I don't wish to see anybody with the machine having to breathe for them or to assist them to breathe. Because you talk to some people who have COPD and even people who have asthma attacks. Like, that's when you can't catch your breath and you can't breathe. And you talk to people who have COVID, who have had COVID. I've had uncles and cousins who've had COVID, and they would call me and they'd be like, I can't move out of this chair. Because that little bit of exertion of trying to move, it drains your body. So for those who are healthy, I understand it. Brother George, you look like, you take care of yourself, your body very well. For those individuals, I wouldn't put pressure on them. But those individuals who have pre-existing conditions or don't know of their health status, I would recommend it.
I think that's a really good point, how you frame it. So even though you feel good, that doesn't mean it's all good, because we know that cancer is a silent killer. A lot of people don't know until they have pains or until they have something, and it's too late sometimes. High blood pressure is a silent killer. You do not know that your blood pressure is 180 over 120 or whatever it is. You don't know. And so people who have not had a physical in the last year, you don't have a healthcare provider who you see regularly, those are the people that need to get a flu shot, because you don't know the status of your health. And you don't want to find out when you are having to get rushed to the ER to find out that you have all these medical conditions. So I love how you frame that, Rashid. If you are healthy because you know you're healthy, because you've been to the doctors and you know your numbers and you've gotten your lab work done and you know you're good, then that's one thing. But when you haven't been, because you don't have a doctor, because you just haven't made time, you don't know. And so you should definitely get a flu shot. We are recommending that you get a flu shot. That is a good point. I am loving it. I am looking at George. I don't know when the last time he's been to the doctor, but now I know I can tell him, although he's looking good, I don't know what's happening for real. So you need to get your flu shot.
Dr. Motley calling you out, George.
I know, no time. It's and I might have to just go to the altar. That's all. I'm coming up there. Here I come. I mean, really good point, man. Like, I mean, you know, we do think we're okay because, you know, our everyday functioning and what we're normally used to doing. And then, of course, we don't know what's going on the inside. So, I mean, a flu shot is probably another, you know, defense, of course. I just felt like every time I got a cold or if it was like flu-like symptoms, I would get something over the counter. So, you know, and it always would combat. I would always find something that, you know, my body got used to and was able to, you know, fight it off. But I mean, a flu shot pretty much would just give me that dose against the whole season. So,
well, I'll say this to you and to, you know, to everybody else that's out there listening, to speak to what you know, Dr. Motley said. Like a lot of times, you know, especially in our community, we don't know because we don't go to the doctor. We don't know what's going on. And it's been plenty of times I'm at the bedside with you know, with our people, and they're like, doctors coming in, you know, you have high blood pressure. I don't have high blood pressure. My pressure has been good. And I, you know, and I'll go in, I'll be like, when last time you been to the doctor, brother? You know, and they'll be like, you know, they'll say something crazy like 3, 4, 5 years or whatever. Right. And I was like, you know, listen, I grew up, I know where you're coming from. I know where we eat. We on the corner store, we getting the wings, the shrimp fried rice, you know what I'm saying? This is what we do. We getting the cheesesteaks, and I get it, you know, but it's like, unless you get checked, you really don't know. And then to your point, and you know, and this is why I get into that, to your point about taking stuff that's over the counter. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, some of those things that are over the counter have secondary side effects, right? So, for instance, a lot of drugs, I ain't gonna say a lot because I don't want to scare people, but some drugs will have a drug called phenylephrine in it, right? So if you have high blood pressure, you shouldn't be taking anything with phenylephrine in it. So if you don't know you have high blood pressure and you take something that has phenylephrine in it, your pressure gonna go through the roof. So and then you can stroke out, you know, again, not knowing your pre-existing conditions. You know, you may be taking it because you got runny nose. You want to, you know, it may work for that. But on the flip side of it, you know, you may be taking it 2, 3, 4 times a day, not knowing that you're walking around with hypertension or at increased risk for stroke. And then they're like, what happened? You know, and that's when we get those questions like, he was just fine last week when I saw him. But, you know, there were things going on internally that he or she may not have been aware of. And then they took this over-the-counter product to take care of one thing, but it wound up affecting something else. So just be, you know, and I put that out to everybody, just be mindful, you know, and this is why we're here to kind of talk about, you know, knowledge of self, you know, knowing your body. You got to know your body.
That was a good point about the over-the-counter drugs, because a lot of times, not only do you not know how those products can impact diseases that you may or may not have, people buy 2 or 3 different things, and they don't realize it's the same ingredients in 2 or 3 different things. So now you're taking double and triple the dose. So I'm always recommending, before you buy things over the counter and before you mix things, talk to the pharmacist to make sure that it's okay to take those medications together. And then the pharmacist will typically check and to ask, what other health conditions do you have, to make sure that your body is compatible with the drugs that you want to take. And if you don't know because you haven't been to the doctor, then that's a whole nother conversation. But I do want to encourage you, if you are in or near Chester, Chest Pen is a community health clinic, and you don't have to have insurance. You don't have to have a provider. They have amazing services there. So you can look into Chest Pen. It's right on 9th Street. And if you're not in Chester, but you're in the U.S., you can go to findahealthcenter.gov. I think, Dr. Thomas, can you put the HRSA link in the chat to direct people to FQHCs, please? But yeah, so there are resources in the in the U.S., if you don't have a healthcare provider, you can get healthcare for free, and you don't have to have insurance or anything. So please take advantage of those resources. I wanted to ask you about getting the COVID vaccine and the flu shot at the same time. I plan on doing that, but do you, is that what's commonly being done?
That's being recommended just because they're working two different things. They're both the same type of shot in your muscle. Mm-hmm. So, and that's actually what I had done. I had got the flu in the left arm, and then I think the COVID in the right arm, something vice versa. So you can get both shots. I know people are like fearful of it, but there's nothing wrong with. I mean, you will get the same. The side effects are the same, right? You may get the muscle soreness. Yeah. For some people who have gotten the COVID booster, or even the second shot, I think second shot and the booster shot has been where most people have had like some side effects with muscle aches or soreness where their body just kind of like shut down on them. And to be honest, that happened to me. I had got both shots, and then I think that following, I think it was like 3-4 days later, I was out, coaching, and my body was like, whoa, something ain't right.
Wow.
I left the field. I took a shower. I was out. I was out. And I've had the series, the first two, and then I had the booster, and I was fine. The fourth booster, the side effects that I've heard other people talk about,
caught up to you.
Yeah, it caught up to me. So, but I was down for like a day. Yeah, just a day with the muscles. I took the next day off from work and recovered, and then I was back
like you never left. You heard it, people. He was down for a day. COVID will have you down for a week. I don't have a week worth of sick time to be sitting home sick with COVID. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my booster this weekend so I can keep the party going. Thanks so much for coming on the show today, Rasheed. This was a really good conversation. We'll definitely have you back for more. I want to remind everyone, check out George and I at homecoming this weekend. Rasheed, did you check your calendar to see if you can come?
I have a game.
Oh, you got a game? Okay.
Yeah, I have a game. So I won't, my game is at 12.
All right, that's cool. We'll catch you next time. Don't worry.
Yeah, sure.
I'll be calling. But yeah, so check us out at the flu and COVID clinic at homecoming. We'll be out there 10 to 2. No appointment necessary. Just come through. We'll be right behind the gate. And you get a free ticket to the game if you get a flu or COVID shot. So we will see you this weekend at homecoming. In the meantime, y'all be safe.
All right. Y'all be safe. Thank you, good brother, for coming out.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you.
And so I think it's important that you understand the clinical trial process.